So I was watching Talksport's interview with Jai Opetaia, and I thought it was a really good interview, to be honest. I feel like the Talksport interviews are better when they've got, a fighter there to discuss things with and give them a different angle to just, to pundits, if you like. And I thought it was just so interesting looking at Jai Opetaia and looking at the way he operates from a mental perspective. What are the beliefs he has? What exactly is it about him that makes him a world champion? Well, the first quote that came to mind when I was listening and watching Jai is, "Winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners." The guy, all he cared about was himself, but not in a selfish way, in a really good way. His mind was just focused on, okay, how can I get better? How can I learn from this? His mind wasn't on, this guy's coming up, I've got to be really worried about him. He wasn't bothered about anyone else. He was just so focused on himself. And I think that's a really important thing to learn. Don't worry about distractions. Don't worry about your competitors. Just focus on yourself and you'll become the best version of yourself. So another thing he did that really impressed me was he just had this insane desire to be the best. I'm sure he wants the money. I'm sure he wants the fame and recognition. But looking at that interview, the most important thing to him was the belts. He even offered to give Chris Smith some of his purse. He's wanted to take a negative split in the purse just so they could get the fight happening. Obviously, the fight hasn't come to fruition yet, but I just thought, wow, this guy is so determined on being the best that he's willing to take less money just for the fight. That's how a true world champion operates. No gimmick fights. No Tyson Fury fighting Ngannou or Derek Chisora for the third time. You're like, wow, this guy really wants to be the best. So that was another thing that really impressed me. The third thing that impressed me was his self-belief. He had this insane willingness to fight everybody. You just looked in his eyes and he was like, yeah, I want to fight everyone. I fight whoever's in front of me. There was no ducking. There was no worrying about styles. He just wanted to fight the best and he was willing to fight everyone put in front of him, as he should do. You're looking at, Devin Haney not wanting the Ryan Garcia rematch. Ask yourself, I think this is how a world-class boxer operates, just wanting to fight absolutely anyone. And as fans, this is what we want to see, right? We want the most exciting fights possible. The fourth thing I noticed about him was, maybe it sounds quite simple, but he was willing to admit where he went wrong. He admitted that in his second fight with Marius Bradis, he was looking for the power punch too much. He was looking for that knockout too much, and he'd forgotten some of the basics of boxing. And I think that's really important, right? I remember seeing it in Vidal Riley's video when he was looking over some of his past performances. He was willing to admit, yeah, look, I got clipped there. I left myself open there. I think realizing you're not perfect is really important to stepping up to the next level. Look at Usyk. Even after he has just become unified heavyweight champion of the world, he was like, no, I can still do better. Look at that. This is where I went wrong. Whereas Tyson Fury was like, oh, I think I won that fight. Maybe not willing to, at least publicly, accept where he went wrong. I don't want to make this sound like I'm bashing Tyson Fury, but it just happens to be that a few examples, sort of work well for him. And the last thing that really impressed me was he just had this overwhelming sense of, self-belief, fate, power. He kept saying like over and over again, yeah, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Self-belief, right? He believed in himself. None of this, oh, I'm so thankful to be here. Oh, yeah. It was like, no, put a bit of respect in his name, I'm supposed to be here. I'm a world champion. I believe in myself. This is fate. This is my destiny. I think you need some of that divine courage and belief. A high-class operator, maybe slightly delusional. You've got to believe you were put on this planet by God to, become the best fighter in the world. Slightly delusional, but necessary, I think. I think, rational fighters aren't always the best fighters because they're just going to lack that bit of self-belief. I mean, that's definitely something I struggle with at times. If you have a very rational and analytical brain, you're going in the okay, the odds are, maybe 60-40 that I win this fight. Whereas if you've got that belief that, God is behind you, you're going to have that, oh, this is my destiny. I'm 100% going to win this fight. And I think that mindset's more dangerous than the mindset of, oh, there's only a 60-40 probability percent that I'm going to win this fight. So I guess maybe the main message to take away from his interview is maybe be a little bit delusional, have some self-belief, believe that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, believe you were put on this earth for a reason. Even if it's not true, what's the harm in believing it? Believe in yourself, learn from your mistakes, focus on yourself, do difficult things, and you become a world champion like Jai Opetaia. I thought I'd just switch the videos up from our normal sort of, boxing style videos, breakdowns, and look at his mentality a bit more. I just think it's interesting and a bit of a change while it's a slightly quieter week in boxing. Obviously, 2 weeks' time, we got Bivol versus Beterbiev, which I think will be very exciting. I think stylistically, it's the most exciting fight in boxing. I'm not sure how interested the casuals are in it because these guys are they're Russians. They don't speak out trash talk, but I think the boxing community is really excited about this fight. Yeah, for me, it's a difficult one to predict. I could see Beterbiev, winning early, just Bivol not being able to keep Beterbiev off him. I can see Bivol winning on points quite widely, but I can see Bivol being up on points and then Beterbiev catches him in a later round. So, yeah, struggling to predict that fight personally. And see, Jai Opetaia is on that card against Jack Massey, coming off the win against Isaac Chamberlain, and a very exciting undercard on that fight as well. So yeah, leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.